If something stinks, it's probably the butts.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Come on. Apologize. 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 Apologize.
Seriously, what the hell's happening?
Well, Divination, you're entitled to your thing, but I'm saying I think Larry Butts is pretty darn awesome. And I'm not doubting that Edgeworth is awesome, by the way. I have no idea what's happening with Keo, but I know what the weapon he used on Angie. I have to prove it to him.
I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong.
Yes, I'm not the culprit.
So I have nothing to confess. I have nothing to admit. You are simply wrong. Why must you force your delusions on us?
Your logic.
That's merely a delusion. Well said, Correcchio. To continue this debate is meaningless. Why must you force your delusions on us?
Your logic.
That's merely a delusion.
It's a really cool outfit, by the
I
way.
told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize. I told
Goodness.
you I am not the culprit.
Apologize.
So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me.
Some of them are like
Correcchio
blacked out.
speaks the truth. Such a sorry lot.
Apologize. Apologize. Apologize.
Apologize. Apologize. I told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. You have no proof that Correcchio is the killer.
Why is there an
I
RE?
told you I am not the culprit. So why are you looking at me like that? You're all wrong, not me. Correcchio speaks the truth.
What is the RE?
You
Oh,
have no
removed.
proof that Correcchio is the killer.
Removed floorboard.
It ends here.
Okay, I was wondering what the heck what RE was for. Or you were watching Excelica play. That's cool.
Keo hit Angie
And
with the same floorboard
he-
used in the seesaw trick.
I think... names are not a spoiler for that one. But, yeah. Sorry, I didn't get to pay attention to the chat. There's a lot of hit butting, or button mashing.
I see. And how do you know the floorboard was the murder weapon?
There was a small patch of dried blood on the underside of the floorboard.
Angie's blood?
Blood that spattered there when the culprit struck Angie with the board. But that's not the only evidence that she was hit with that floorboard.
Black Quill was pretty cool, too. I can concede that one, Kara.
There's also the blood stain under the floor to consider. For that to be there, the floorboard must not have been in place at the time of the attack.
Good point. Had the floorboard been in place, her blood wouldn't have splattered beneath it.
Keo's earlier confession is further evidence that the floorboard was used.
How?
If the weapon used to hit Angie is the floorboard from the seesaw trick,
It means the culprit knew about the seesaw, so the same person killed Tenko and Angie.
I liked all of the Phoenix Wright games, Divination, so I would say go ahead and play them all. I just haven't played the collaboration for Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton. That's the one of the series I haven't played yet. That was a very impressive death screen. Well done.
I believe that while Keo was setting up the seesaw, he was holding the board when Angie walked in.
And he cold-cocked her with a floorboard. All you can do now is accept it. You even confessed to Tenko's murder already.
So it's true. This is the truth.
I'm glad they're both Kyo, to be honest. I wouldn't want Kyo to be like... If Kyo didn't kill Angie, then that means Kyo would have been at the next chapter, and then it's almost guaranteed that Himiko's going to kill Kyo.
Looks like we're almost at the end. All right, Shuichi, I'll leave the finale to you. Bring down the house.
Everybody, let's make a manga together.
Ichi, please, put an end to this. For Angie and Tenko's sake. End this class trial.
In comic book fashion.
I understand. I'll go over everything one more time. Keo, I want you to confess. No, I will force you to confess.
Closing argument. Startle! Okay, let's look at the things we have first. We have to unlock 7 things before we can get anything new. Okay. Hit the sliding lock. Small stone that Himiko brought. Removed floorboard. Duct tape. Okay, here's a question. I may be dumb, but couldn't you just lift her bangs up? If you're trying to stop bleeding, wouldn't it just make more sense to have just put it on the skin versus hair and then skin? I mean, come on. Remove the gold leaf katana. Sickle placed to kill. And what's this one up here? Path made with salt. Okay. Who was the culprit with the saw in the empty room? It's Kyo. What weapon knocked Angie unconscious? Rude floorboard. Yeah, completely divination. I agree. That would have been so weird. What was compressing the injury? That was stuck duct tape. What weapon killed Angie? Remove golden leaf katana. Okay. Whose effigy was stabbed with the katana? I don't think we have that one yet. We do not. The handle of the spinning... That's the question? Really? Okay. When Angie's body was found, who unlocked the door? What do we have? We have the sickle. We have a small stone and some salt. What object did Tenko rest her forehead on with a seam? Come on. This one. What weapon did the culprit set up in the iron cage? Sickle placed to kill. Who besides Kokichi was responsible for extinguishing? That was us. Who was the culprit able to move around in the dark? How was it able to move? That would be this. And now we get all the other stuff. When the culprit approached the cage. Footsteps contaminating the scene. Stabbed effigy. When culprit approached cage. Is that when he stepped on it? Yep, okay. How did the magic circle get erased? Footsteps. Oh. Who besides Kokichi? That was us. When Angie's body was discovered, who unlocked the door? I like that picture. Cool picture, Kokichi. I still hate him. This is the end of chapter 3. Whose effigy was stabbed? And bam. All right.
Is the truth of the case.
Anime explanation, go.
Let's look back at the first murder. It was late last night. The culprit was in the empty room on the 4th floor. The culprit was preparing the seance murder they had planned. To use the floorboard as a seesaw, they had to cut the crosspiece supporting it. The plan was to make the same preparations for all 3 empty rooms. This would divert suspicion away from the culprit and whoever picked a room. To cut the crosspieces, they needed a saw. I imagine they got one from the warehouse.
We'll try and
planning to cut the
help you out, Kara.
crosspieces
What
in
detail
all
is
3
bothering
rooms.
you?
However, when the culprit was working on the middle room, the unexpected happened.
What? Adua is wondering what's
Angie
going
walked
on.
into that room and saw the culprit making their preparations. She needed some fire for the ritual and had gone to the room for a candle. At that point, the culprit had not finished the setup and was just cutting crosspieces.
The seance was held to summon Angie's soul, but what would have been his modus operandi if Angie didn't die? You mean Tenko? The reason he killed Angie is because what they're explaining right now. She found him doing a prep. And the reason he killed Tenko, I guess, is because he just wanted to use the plan that he set up.
Angie might not have concluded that it was tied to some kind of murder plan. But now that Angie had seen it, the culprit couldn't use the seesaw trick. Any other person might have just given up, but not our culprit. The culprit took the floorboard they loosened and struck the unsuspecting Angie in the head.
Maybe it'll be explained, because I agree with you. That's a little weird.
The culprit did not want to give up on their plan and had to improvise.
Let's listen and see if they don't explain it well enough.
They wrapped duct tape around Angie's injury to stop the bleeding. Then they picked up her unconscious body and carried her to a research lab.
And I don't think he wasn't focusing on Tenko to kill her. It was whoever was in the cage.
While she was unconscious,
It would have been completely
the culprit
random.
hurried to tie up this loose end. But because they were in a hurry, they made a crucial oversight. They didn't notice the duct tape had peeled off and was under Angie's body.
Yeah, it was all Atua's fault.
Without that evidence, we may never have figured out the culprit's trick. Carrying the supplies they needed, the culprit returned to the ultimate art lab. Locked the front door from inside. And took out the katana they brought from their own lab.
Also, for some reason this is bothering me. It says slash when they obviously stabbed. Okay. Makes me a little upset. We're gonna get past this together.
They then stabbed Angie in the back of the neck, finally killing her.
At least she didn't feel anything.
Then, to further confuse us, the culprit attempted to make a locked room mystery.
Okay, Kara, I see what you're saying. He was organizing a seance even before Angie surprised him in order to kill Tenko, which I don't think he was trying to pick somebody to actually kill. A specific person. I don't think he was like targeting Tenko. I don't think he was targeting so-and-so. I think he just set up the seance to kill whoever was going to be in the middle. I don't think it was a person he or she cared about. It was just so he could get away with murder. But Angie found him. He then had to kill her first. And maybe he was just upset he couldn't do it? He couldn't do the thing he set up?
First, they used rope from the warehouse and hung 4 effigies upside down. There were 2 reasons for this. To overwhelm the room with an occult atmosphere.
Yeah, he could have, as soon as he got some people to agree with that having a seance to talk to somebody who was dead, that's when he could then kill somebody. And it just so happened he had to kill Angie, so it was like, well, we can talk to Angie now. Maybe. I can understand confusion, and I'm still not 100% confident in that. I agree, it's completely confusing.
And the other was the key to locking the room.
We're saying all this, and they'll probably actually have Kyo explain it. So let's see if we'll go to the end of the chapter and then be confused later.
The katana into Kaede's effigy near the rear entrance. And spun the effigy around to twist up the rope. After enough turns, the culprit let go and headed for the rear door. Once released, the effigy began spinning, and the gold leaf katana with it. The handle of the katana then hit the sliding lock, locking the door. A difficult trick, but remember that the lock was so loose it moved at the slightest touch. The culprit also would have had the opportunity to attempt it many times.
Yep. Many, many times.
Once complete, the door was locked, but the duct tape was left behind. Perhaps the culprit noticed it, but by that point, it was too late.
Also, how could you not notice glowing tape? Must have been really distracted.
The room was sealed. There was no way for them to get back inside. Then, this morning, we opened up the room and discovered Angie's body. But the culprit wasn't finished. They wanted one more murder. To do that, they manipulated us into performing this seance. Of the 3 empty rooms, the middle one was chosen for the seance. I was invited by Kokichi to take Kibo's place in the seance. Tenko volunteered to be the medium, but she never imagined it would get her killed. To perform the seance, the culprit claimed they needed something for Tenko. A small stone that Himiko had brought from the courtyard. Tenko, at the culprit's request, bowed her head until it was touching the stone. That position was instrumental in making sure the murder went as planned.
Tenko was ultimate
Next,
Aikido master.
Kokichi and I placed the
Martial
iron
arts.
cage over Tenko, in the middle of the magic circle. The culprit then volunteered to drape the white cloth over the iron cage. We didn't realize it at the time, But that was a deliberate decision by the culprit. They needed to set up the murder weapon that was used to kill Tenko.
Oh, Kara? Okay, cool. Tell Darka we said hi. Hope he's doing all right.
While they were covering the cage with a cloth,
Whoosh.
they secretly placed the sickle.
Good.
Finally, 4 of us placed the wooden statue on top of the cage.
Thud.
The culprit used the weight of the statue to keep the murder weapon in place. After the preparations were complete, we began the seance. In complete darkness, we each stood in one corner and sang the Caged Child song. When the song finished, the soul of the dead was supposed to enter the medium. But our culprit had another plan: to commit a murder in the darkness. Right after we started singing, the culprit began making their way toward Tenko. It would have been quite difficult to do in total darkness, but our culprit had a guide.
Wait.
They used the lines of the magic circle drawn with salt.
Kyo wears gloves. Like they're wrapped. They wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the floor and salt. Bandages, yeah.
The culprit felt for the salt and used it to guide them along.
My point is that his hands were covered. So it would have been very difficult to like find his way with touch. Still possible, but I'm just saying that's...
And when the culprit reached the center of the circle...
That's a good point. I just thought it was weird.
They found the floorboard that had its crosspiece
I have
cut
been
off the night
overruled.
before. Then lifted up their foot and stomped down hard on the floorboard. The floorboard lifted up like a seesaw and pushed Tenko's body up toward the ceiling of the cage. Tenko was stabbed in the back of the neck by the sickle on the top of the cage. She was killed right before our eyes, and we didn't even see it.
Well done, Walker.
After committing the crime, the culprit followed the salt back to their corner. Finished the ritual and had us light the candles.
And it's very important to
We
remove it
followed
the same
culprit's
way.
directions and remove the equipment used for the seance. And discovered Tenko's body. And while we were all focused on the body, the culprit picked up the sickle and dropped it under the floor through the hole in the corner of the room. Ironically, the final step of the murder was unwittingly carried out by us. The culprit had planned the murder so that we would unintentionally destroy some evidence. That evidence was the magic circle that the culprit used to navigate in the dark.
Sickle? Like, sick as in illness, and then, sickle.
However, the culprit didn't know that Kibo had taken a picture.
Kibo MVP!
He really saved us. Without that, we wouldn't know what changes were made to the circle. But now we know for certain, and we know the culprit drew the magic circle. Korekio Shinguji, the ultimate anthropologist. You're the culprit behind these murders.
Both of them.
That's where my detective work leads us. It all fits.
Sweet Korekio. There are times when it's necessary to admit defeat.
Totally busted.
Admit? Yeah. Okay.
So you finally admit you did it.
Unfortunately. Yes. Yes. It's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. My one regret, my only regret, was not being able to make 100 friends.
Eh?
100 friends?
It was my dream to make 100 friends.
Oh, Divination, I'm sure you nailed it. You can't execute someone without letting them talk for at least 30 minutes of backstory.
Oh, it's so unfortunate! I was so close to 100!
What are you talking about? I do not understand a word of this.
Who gives a fuck? Let's vote for this kooky bastard and be done with this already!
No, let him talk about his backstory.
Roger that! One voting time coming up!
The heart racing excitement as...
The heart racing excitement!
As a blackened and a spotless finally face off!
Man, Monodem's gonna die. Dang nabbit.
It's voting time!
Way to go, Kara. Congratulations. So we're gonna vote for Himiko, right? You know, let's just vote for Kokichi. We can vote for Kokichi and it not hurt us, right? Just kidding. That is a very creepy mask.
Now then,
No
it
consequences.
seems the voting has finished. Let's see the result.
I'm gonna assume one is for Himiko from Kyo. Oh, he voted for himself. Nice. Does that mean I can vote for dead people?
Who'll be chosen as the blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one?
Oh, cool, Divination. Didn't know that. We might do that next time. Is his hair blue? I thought it was black. That little mini pixelated picture looked like it was blue hair. All rise. Oh, we did horrible. We probably won't get a B. Or get an A. Might get a B. Oh, we still got an A. Nice. 242 coins. Cool.
Wah!
Seriously? You're correct again.
Absolutely right.
Amazing. This is the third correct verdict in a row.
All right.
If you manage to get 12 correct verdicts in a row, you'll proceed to the bonus round. How's this gonna last that long?
For now.
It's finally over.
No.
Not yet. I haven't heard his answer yet. I want to hear his backstory. Yeah. Kyo, why? Why did you kill Angie and Tenko?
Right!
Yeah, he no need to kill them both, no matter what motive he have.
Oh?
Motive?
Hey!
Did your motive have something to do with the transfer student who was resurrected? Even if it did, though, how did that trigger a murder?
Hey, hey.
Don't tell me. Were you actually scared of the resurrection ritual, Kaito?
Shut up!
I never said I was scared. The resurrection ritual had nothing to do with it. Really? Because we're friends, I'll tell you. I never once believed in the ritual. I would never kill someone over such a silly thing as that.
What?
So it has nothing to do with the motive?
Yeah?
Yeah?
Yes.
For the one that I love.
There is someone that I love.
Kara, your desire for a Himiko with cat ears to pet all day. I'm sure you can find that on the internet. From the bottom